Welcome back to Talk Show, the show where we connect the dots so you don't have to. It's Thursday, March 26th, almost 1 month into Trump's war. Quick reminder, almost 2,000 Iranians dead, 19 Israelis, 13 Americans, over 1,000, almost 1,100 Lebanese dead. Oil, $115 a barrel. The stock market just had its worst month in a year. And someone made $1.5 billion on Trump's announcement 15 minutes before he made it. Who was it? Was it Trump himself? Was it a family member? Maybe it was a White House staffer, Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Madoff? We don't know, because the White House is saying the question is baseless and irresponsible. Meanwhile, this is the administration that spent a decade railing against Obama, who sent $400 million to Iran, and who just lifted sanctions so Iran can sell oil and make billions while we're actively bombing them. If this is the golden age of America, it turns out golden has a soft J, and it's actually the Jolden age. Let's fold this laundry. In our first segment, let's talk about $1.5 billion worth of insider trading funsies. And let's talk corruption. You know, the kind that makes your head spin a bit. On Monday, March 24th at 6:49 a.m., there's a timestamp, gotta love that. Someone, we don't know who, made massive trades. $1.5 billion in S&P 500 futures, betting the stock market would go up. $580 million in oil futures, betting that oil price would go down. 6,200 Brent and WTI futures contracts changed hands in a single minute, and trading volume spiked 27 seconds before 6:50 a.m. Now, why do the timestamps matter? Well, since you asked, on Monday, the same day, March 24th, at 7:04 a.m., 15 minutes later, Trump posts on Truth Social, "We've had productive conversations with Tehran in recent days, considering winding down the military operation." Yeah. So then, of course, oil prices immediately tank, stock market rallies. Yeah, exactly what those mystery traders bet would happen. Trades were 4 to 6 times the normal volume for that hour. Okay, bigger than any futures purchases made at that time. I was quoting Senator Chris Murphy before when I asked, who was it? Was it Trump? Was it a family member? Was it a White House staffer? This is corruption, mind-blowing corruption. Economist Paul Krugman called it treason. Oh boy, here's his argument. Insider trading on national security decisions isn't just unfair, it's a strategic vulnerability. All right, trading on classified information broadcasts the government's plan to foreign adversaries. Who needs to bribe agents within the government when you can infer the intelligence from watching futures markets? Then, Krugman raised the question that should terrify every one of us. Oh boy, are decisions about war and peace in part serving the cause of market manipulation rather than the national interest? If you dismiss this as unthinkable, you just haven't been paying attention. Allow me to translate. Is Trump making war decisions based on how much money his allies can make? Or he can make? But wait, it gets worse. Oh yeah, no, it gets so much fucking worse. This wasn't an isolated incident, there's a pattern, okay? Let's talk about Polymarket. Are you familiar with Polymarket? This is the website where you can bet whether Jesus returns before Grand Theft Auto 6 is released, right? Very important bets. On Polymarket, over the weekend before Trump's announcement, several newly created anonymous accounts placed massive bets on Iran-related predictions. Coincidence? The accounts were brand new, no trading history, and experts say they showed signs of insider knowledge. Oh boy. So these anonymous accounts made massive bets on no Iran ceasefire by March 31st, no U.S. ground forces in Iran by March 31st, and that the U.S. forces enter Iran by April 30th. It's absolutely wild to me that you can bet on these types of things. Great job, Polymarket, for creating a market where there wasn't one. Researcher Ben York talks about this a little bit. Typically, when you see like wallet splitting and deliberate attempts to obfuscate identity, it's one of two scenarios. Number one, either a very large investor was trying to shield their position from market impact, or number two, probably the more likely one, insider trading. As I was saying, it's a pattern, and there have been similarly suspicious trades happening before, such as the Venezuela invasion when Maduro was captured. Remember that? initial Iran strikes way back on February 28th, almost a month ago, and multiple other Trump policy announcements. So what's the White House response to all this? Spokesperson Kush Desai said, any suggestion of insider trading is baseless and irresponsible reporting. The White House does not tolerate any administrative official illegally profiteering off of insider knowledge. Okay, so prove it. Also, your name sounds like a marijuana strain. What we should see is releasing of the records, right? We should see some proof. Show us who made the trades. Open an investigation. If there's nothing to hide, there should be no problem with the transparency, right? The most transparent administration in history. Right? Right? But here's the thing. This one eensy-weensy problem. This administration has systematically dismantled the machinery designed to catch insider trading. Oops, it's all insider trades from now on. So here's how that has happened. The DOJ's Public Integrity Section, which was created after Watergate to, prosecute corrupt officials, was reduced from 36 lawyers down to 2, and then stripped of authority to make new cases. Should be fine. In 2025, the administration canceled 159 federal enforcement actions against 166 companies, more than 30 of which donated to Trump's inauguration or the White House ballroom. Yeah, the ballroom that's not a fucking ballroom. Reuters reported the SEC's top enforcement official resigned last week after agency leaders blocked her from pursuing cases touching Trump's circle. So let's just recap here for 1 second, shall we? Numero uno, someone makes $1.5 billion smackers on advanced knowledge of Trump's announcement. Number 2, the White House calls any questions irresponsible. Number 3, the agencies that would investigate this shit have been gutted. And then lucky number 4, Trump has spent his entire presidency profiteering from this office. And we're supposed to believe this is all just a coincidence? Come on, y'all. Come on. Dear leader just cannot stop bragging about this shit. I mentioned Chris Murphy before. He and Rep. Greg Kassar, who I'm hoping I'm saying your last name right, they introduced the Bets Off Act last week. This legislation would ban prediction markets on government actions, terrorism, war, assassinations, and events where an individual knows or controls the outcome. Now, it's not going to pass, right? Republicans control Congress, but at least someone is trying. Meanwhile, Iran's parliament speaker says there was no negotiations with the U.S. He called Trump's announcement fake news used to manipulate financial and oil markets. So, either Trump lied about peace to manipulate the markets, which someone made a whole shitload of money from, or Iran's lying about denying the talks. Given Trump's track record, I know which one I'm betting on. In our next segment, World News in a minute. Rapid fire chaos, here we go. Iran war, day 27. That death toll is up there. I'm not going to repeat those numbers. Israel claims that it killed IRGC Navy Commander Alireza Tangsiri, hopefully I'm saying that right, the man responsible for mining the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian authorities have not confirmed this. The U.S. postponed Trump's China visit because of the war. Pakistan handed Iran a 15-point peace plan as an intermediary between Tehran and D.C. India is urging households to switch from LPG cylinders to piped natural gas due to Middle East supply disruptions. Coming up this weekend, No Kings protests. That's right, this will likely be one of the largest, if not the most massive protest in the entire history of the United States. Get out there, get into it, make a sign, make some signs, it's going to be awesome. They'll also be protesting ICE operations, the Iran war, and authoritarianism. And these protests are actually named after Renee Good, Keith Porter, and the Alex Priddy killings by ICE earlier this year. Continuing along, Iran refuses the World Cup. I don't know that I'm surprised by that, but Iranian sports minister has said Iran will not participate in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, hosted by the US, Canada, and Mexico. Reason: security concerns amid the Iran war. Honestly, that's pretty fair. Air France suspends Cuba flights, so starting March 29th until at least June 15th, we will not be flying any Air France flights to Cuba. And the reason? Jet fuel shortage in Cuba. Also, Cuba's economy is collapsing. Lufthansa pilot strike. There's a 48-hour strike for all flights from German airports. This is a dispute over pensions, and it's creating major delays everywhere. And that's your world, folks. Still spinning, but maybe just barely. Okay, let's get to our main story. We talked about Trump's Iran announcement. Was it manipulation or mirage? Ooh la la. So let's talk about the Monday announcement, because something doesn't add up. Maybe you caught on to that. Here's what Trump said. We've had productive conversations with Tehran in recent days, considering winding down the military operation, getting very close to meeting our objectives. What Iran said, Parliament Speaker said there have been no negotiations with Washington, and it's fake news to manipulate the financial and oil markets. Okay, so who's lying? Let's look at the evidence, shall we? Evidence against Trump's claim. Iran's parliament speaker flatly denies any talks. Oman's foreign minister said peace was within reach on February 27th, the day before the war started. Talks were supposed to resume March 2nd. They never did. Guardian reporting, before the war began, security officials from the U.S. allies judged that a peace deal was within reach. And then Trump bombed anyway. Trump has also said we're winding down and we've won multiple times, but the war keeps escalating. New Supreme Leader Khamenei's first public message on March 24th, Iran will continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and neighboring countries should close American military bases. I gotta be honest, that doesn't sound like particularly productive peace talks. Love me some silly alliteration. Now, evidence for Trump's claim, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, but I am. Pakistan confirmed it handed Iran a 15-point peace plan. That is at least true. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said a glimmer of hope for peace emerged. Someone else is corroborating some of this. And Trump postponed his China visit to May, which could signal an expected timeline for when the conflict ends. Maybe. But here's the thing. Pakistan acting as an intermediary doesn't mean the U.S. and Iran are suddenly friends or having productive conversations. It means Pakistan is trying to prevent World War III. And China saying there's a glimmer of hope is diplomatic speak for, please stop fucking bombing everyone. We need oil. The timing, it's suspicious. It's a little suspicious. Trump spent the weekend, March 22nd and 23rd, threatening to hit and obliterate Iran power plants, civilian power plants. That's a war crime if the Strait of Hormuz didn't reopen in 48 hours. But then on Monday morning, actually, we're considering winding it all down. What the heck happened in 48 hours? Nothing public. But what did happen, someone made $1.5 billion betting on that exact reversal. Let me give you a couple of possible options here. Option number one, Trump's telling the truth. There are productive peace talks. Iran is just a big liar, big old duty face. Don't hold your breath on that one. Option numero dos, Trump lied to manipulate the markets. Someone with advanced knowledge profited massively, and Iran is telling the truth. That seems pretty likely. And then option number three, Trump genuinely believes that he's in peace talks because intermediaries are talking. Iran doesn't consider that negotiations, but both are technically telling the truth from their perspective. So I'll let you decide which sounds more like Donald Trump. But here's what we know for sure, okay? The war is still escalating. Israel just killed Iran's Navy commander. Iran is still blocking the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. just deployed 2,500 more Marines. Lebanon death toll is over 1,000. Oil is still at $115 a barrel. So if this is winding down, I would hate to see what escalation looks like. More recently, you may have heard that there's no exit strategy. So Defense Secretary Hegseth says we intend to control Iranian airspace. Super. For how long? Until when? What's the objective? Nobody knows because Trump won't say. Probably because they have no fucking idea. Congress still hasn't authorized this, okay? Don't forget, there was supposed to be a vote. Republicans blocked it. 56% of Americans oppose the war. Doesn't fucking matter. And someone is just making billions of dollars while Americans die. 13 service members are dead. 200 plus wounded. Thousands of Iranians dead. Strait of Hormuz closed. Gas prices through the roof. And the people who knew about this announcement 15 minutes early made $1.5 billion. That's not a war. It's a profit center, y'all. Oh boy, so here's where we are. Friendly reminder, almost a month into Trump's war, started without congressional approval, lots of people dead, injured, or otherwise. Someone made $1.5 billion betting on Trump's announcements. That should be totally fine. The White House says asking who did that is irresponsible. The agencies that would investigate this totally gutted. DOJ's public integrity section went from 36 lawyers to 2. I'm sure they can handle this. And then Trump says we're in productive peace talks. Iran says it's fake news to manipulate the markets. This weekend, coming up, thousands of Americans will march in the No Kings protest against the war, against mass deportations, because apparently we need to remind the president that he's not a monarch. But based on the insider trading, the lack of congressional authorization, the gutted oversight, the pattern of profiteering from public office, he's governing like a king anyway. As we like to say, if you learned something, gosh, I'm so sorry. If you didn't, congratulations, you're coping correctly. I'm Tino. This was Talk Show. I'll see you on Sunday.